Welcome back, everyone, for Krogg and Qwerty Show's Under Fire reviews. We have Diablo 3 now. We did D2 yesterday. We got D4 coming out hopefully at the end of this year. Maybe by next year, but even still, it's on the horizon. So here we go with Diablo 3. I'm here with Krogg on Discord.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
And I'm Qwerty. And I have my invisible hat on.
Nice. Your floating F hat?
My floating F hat.
Nice.
Great hat. Cost me like $2. Alright, so here we go. We're going to get down into it. What we get? We got 4.5 for Diablo 2. Just looking at myself, I don't think this is going to hit quite that high. So here we go. I'm going to get right into it. Gameplay. Fast. Mass mob killing. I mean, the drop beam that comes down when you get like legendary. Super exciting. It, just gets you like in the mood to grind some.
Yeah. Now gameplay, yeah. I don't know. My one gripe with gameplay is there wasn't as many, like the skill system wasn't as good.
Right.
And then I don't know, would the putting the runes within the skills instead of having rune words, would that go into
right.
well?
The item system definitely falters, and you'll see that a little bit more in my other notes for other areas. But I did have builds are set per ladder, so there's only so many builds. And if you every season they do, which will go into play value as well, they have seasons, which helps, but it's always like they'll nerf this build so it's useless, like there's no point in using it. And then they'll have other builds, and it's basically if you're not running exactly that, it could still be effective, but you're not going to be able to be on the ladder. Like you're not going to get anywhere. So I don't really like that, but in just the sense of just the gameplay when you first play it, super fun for me. What'd you give it, Krogg?
I gave it a 3 on the gameplay just because I felt it was a step down from Diablo 2.
Right. Okay, makes sense.
So,
all right, I gave it a 4.5 just because I really like the gameplay. Like, I like grindy games, and, obviously before it was a lot more worth grinding. Definitely the item system, takes a lot out of that. I guess kind of blanketing it over the whole course of how much time I've played it and just how much fun I have actually just going through the mobs and killing, and it's really the visuals are bright and everything. But all right, so got that.
Give it a 3. Now next,
all right, I had to make sure I had the math correct on that.
Gotcha.
This is like an odd. That's what I thought it was. I'm actually really good at math. I just don't want to screw it up and then have the wrong value. So, all right.
Yeah.
Moving along to play value. Here we go.
Play value.
We got play value rolling right now. And basically for me, there's a new season every 6 months. Which, it's online, and they're constantly like updating it and stuff. But there's not really any new content. They're just kind of changing different things. I mean, there's a little bit because each season has like, hey, circles you stand in and they give you buffs. Or like the last season I played, I know they just started one, but the one before that was massacre streaks, like kill streaks. You would get certain things that would drop from the sky or help you fight or whatever. So that's pretty cool, but I mean, it gives you.
My gripe.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like, you're paying full price for what seems like not a finished game because they basically tore it all apart when they got rid of that auction house. The whole direction of the game changed, and you can kind of tell that within the game.
Right.
It's like the initial 50 levels you go up mean absolutely nothing.
70 now, but yeah.
Or 70, yeah, exactly. It means absolutely nothing.
Right, it definitely.
So
if you. I try and separate my bias as much as possible. It's tough to do because we know what it was and what it's become, and it's just, for lack of a better term, a shit game compared to what it was when it first launched. To me, anyways. But I mean, yeah. So basically, I have the same thing. It's online, but there's no PvP. There's PvE, but most of the time it doesn't matter unless you're like helping someone. And It's not too gratifying with the builds unless you're doing like end game, top freaking 1,000 players, stuff like that. Then it's okay to play together if you're trying to do the fastest 4-man clear and stuff like that. But it's super hard and it's just not realistic. So most of the time you end up playing by yourself, farming the things that you want.
You will just about get your value out of it,
just about.
And yeah,
if they had the auction house still, you would have a lot more. But 3, okay, I had a 3.5. Yeah, I took off for that too as well quite a bit, so I gave it a 3.5.
Yeah.
So
it's teetering on. Yeah, you kind of get your value out of it, but
I mean, you got to think too. Like
I would like to see more.
I think all these would have rated higher if it was when it like a couple months after it released. But yeah, it's just the direction they took and everything definitely put a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths. And coming off of D2, such a great game. So, all right, we're going to move it along. This isn't a bass session. So here we go. Environment. All right, so I got great visuals. Like, it's very bright, colorful, a lot going on.
Medieval theme again, which is great.
It's great. It's very gratifying when you just slam into an area and do a couple skills and it just wipes everything out. Very gratifying. The storyline's great. The towns are great, well put together. There's a lot of, like, you know, NPC action and, you know, iconic sayings for, like, different characters. And I think the community's pretty solid. I think everyone's usually
avid community.
Right, everyone's pretty, just like D2, they're pretty quick to help. You can quick match join people, and as long as like you're not just being a dick or screwing around, most likely you friend a lot of people, and then every time you get on, there's people to play with. So I think it's pretty good. I gave it a 5.
It could have been 8 people.
Yeah,
that's the one thing. Like it's
could have been 100.
People.
Could have been an MMO.
D2. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this game, it was like a complete step down from D2. It's like, if they would have just added that little bit more, you know, 8 people per room and stuff, I think, it would have been a lot more successful than it was.
Right. But I mean, I thought...
I still went pretty good with it. I went 4.5.
4.5.
Because that's the only thing I could really see wrong with it. Environment.
Yeah, environment-wise, like I said, I gave it a 5. That might have been a little high, but I just kind of feel like, I don't know, it just, the visuals are really good. Like, whenever I play that game, it's visually exciting. I feel good about it. Everyone that I play with or come across is super nice, and, I mean, yeah, there's definitely things there that, you know, could be better. But I think the graphics are really good. I don't know. It's just immersed me, so... 5 I got for that. Krogg got a 4.5. So that scored very high. Okay. On with it. We got... Oh, I forgot all my pictures again. Man, I got...
No.
Stop doing that. So there's your gameplay. There's the colorfulness and everything playing through. This isn't a bad way to do it either, I guess. Alright, and then you got your play value. I got just like the skill system. And this is where it kind of like faltered some of the play value because like this is it. Like, that's your skill tree, basically. Yeah, and then environment. I just had kind of like the look of the environment that you deal with. Very dark and cool, and even like I know in certain areas, the ambiance is like super creepy when you're sitting there up late at night doing hard grinds, and then you stop killing something to like text someone or say something on Discord, and you just hear like the moans and the screams of like hell in the background. It freaks you out a little bit. They did really good with that ambiance. And then alright, here we are with originality, and I got a picture of Whimsydale, which is like a little fun board they did. They had the secret cow level in D2. They made Whimsydale, and there is a cow level now too in D3 as well. But just with originality, I think that was the main things I saw. They did some stuff a little different. They had a couple little kind of flares, but Ubers are the same. It's a dungeon.
Did you notice the stat tree?
Hold on a second. Dungeon crawler, same story. You know, same, you know, Ubers, same type of monsters,
A lot of the same characters.
Yeah, a lot of the same character. Like, it is, again, a sequel, and it did score decent on the other things, because it is a good game. It's fun to play, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, I just looked at it and said, look more... Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, it would have got more originality if the auction house was still around. And, like, how they first started the system. But then it became, like, basically you're just hunting down ancients or primals, which are the same thing you've already found, just a little bit better. And then sometimes you get those, and they're not even better than what you had before. I don't know. What'd you think? What were your notes, Krogg?
Well, also, another thing was the stat tree system.
Right.
Looks like it was directly ripped out of Final Fantasy X.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's... I mean, it's not the same exact thing, but it's the same fucking thing. Pretty much.
Right.
It looks a lot like the Final Fantasy X, and it's like, man, I don't know. I had to give it a 3.5 in originality. Yes, it still has some things that it is original on, and they elaborated upon it from D2, but
right.
It's just not enough, and then they rip some things right out of.
So what'd you give it?
In other games, a 3.5.
3.5. I gave it a 1.
Been a little generous.
I gave it a 1, a straight up 1 for originality. Go. I don't think it's that original. There's other dungeon crawlers and stuff that feel like that is. I feel like they copied a lot of other ones to try and mainstream it so that people would play it. People would play it because D2 was so big, but it was dwindling down. So like they're like, well, what can we got to make it fit the masses, because there was this weird thing like 10 years ago where everyone thought gaming had to fit the masses, where they don't realize like, no, it's becoming careers and stuff. So it doesn't even really matter. You can make it harder. You can make it more involved.
Yeah, here's the thing with that. On Diablo 1, they actually had a console port for that. Diablo 2 never got a console port. When Diablo 3 came out, they actually got a deal to do a console port. So that's why they like dumbed it all down, and they made it really simplified.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's part of it, but still, like it had something to do with that whole we have to, dumb stuff down so it's appealing to the masses, where they didn't have to do that. I don't think
insulting our intelligence.
Right. Insulting the intelligence, but also just it's a dumb way to go about it, because everyone that plays games are usually pretty smart people, unless they're just looking to do whatever, but then they're not playing games like Diablo and stuff like that. Anyways, they're playing like Mario Party or Super Smash Bros. Something like this, it's intellectual players, and having that solid player base is what keeps it around for so long. It's not the everyday Joe that's just hopping on for a couple hours a week. That's not what's keeping it alive and making your money. The people that like fall in love with it, and then they're just like, well, I want to look badass, so I'm going to pay $10 for this sword. Not stuff that makes you better, but stuff that looks cool. And yeah,
you can't get into a game that's straightforward, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a lot to it.
All right.
A lot of RNG, a lot of ratios and percentages.
All right, so there we go. We're wrapping up here. Here is the final score, and this is actually right around where I thought it would land. And here we go. Playometer. Boop. Playometer 3.5. So
3.5.
It's definitely that point where it's nearing the pass category. If it got under 3, then I would just say don't worry about it. But it is an avid community. Diablo 4 is coming up. If you love Diablo 2, it's definitely worth playing, at least if nothing else, to keep yourself on the up and up, and what they're doing to then compare it to 4.
Yeah.
Right. So definitely playable, but I would wait till it's like on sale or something. I wouldn't just go out and pay whatever it is, to get all the expansions and everything. Just test it out, or if you have a buddy that has it, ask them if you can use their account or something to check it out. Because it is a good game. It's super fun, but again, like, I went back to it a couple times, and within a week, I'm just like,
no thanks.
Nothing. Yeah, it just gets boring to me.
Here's the main thing. If anybody's still like, well, what's the main gripe with it? The main gripe with it is they turned it into an arcade style game where it's like a high scoreboard, pretty much.
Right.
That's
right. You
basically
don't.
what it's like.
You have to use certain builds. You don't feel any originality in it. And even when you do original stuff, there's not much. There's not too many components. There's not that many items. And usually you have to use a full set to do a certain thing because they made it so, like, this one set gives you 10,000% damage to Whirlwind. So, yeah, if I'm doing Whirlwind build, I'm going to use that set. There's nothing else to really get you that high. There's some other things they had, like the Legacy of Dreams and Nightmares and stuff like that were similar, but it just was like a lot PC'er of a build and not as tanky. All the set builds were a lot more tanky and stuff. You could use the Traveler's Pledge and stuff like that. But alright, we don't have to get too far into it. That's pretty much our basis for that. And then, yeah, I mean, see when Diablo 4 comes out. We'll probably do a review for that after we play it for a while. And that's about it. I don't know what we're going to do next. If you guys have anything, let us know what game you want us to review down in the comments on your way down there. Punch the sub button. Punch the like button. Do it up. We much appreciate it.
Punch Qwerty.
Don't do that. And, yep, I'm Qwerty, here with Krogg. We're signing out, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace!